do bigger things. So listen, Lamar said something 2 years ago that changed my life. He said, and I think he was talking just to me, but many of you probably were there. He said, no one is coming to save us. We must save ourselves. And for me, that was a pivotal moment. For me, that told me if I didn't do it, it won't get done. If I didn't have the right relationships and the right mindset, then I was the one that's killing my own business. I can't wait on Captain Sailor. Okay, I couldn't say it, but you did. To come and save me. I can't wait on the SBA to tell me when I'm lendable. I can't wait on the bank to tell me when I'm bankable. I can't wait on nobody to control my destiny because I am the one. And anytime I slip and forget that I'm the one, I got Coach Michelle saying, you the one. I got Coach John saying, you the one. I got Coach Victoria saying, you the one. I got Alexandria saying, you the one. I got Ronnie saying, girl, you the one.
Hey guys, I want you to know that you are the one. You are the one. You are the one. You are the one that's going to bring your business to victory. You are the one that is designed and anointed and appointed for such a time as this. I am so delighted to be here with you guys tonight on night 2 of our Plan Your Year Bootcamp. And I ran across that clip of a speaking engagement I had a few years ago in last January. And I remember exactly where I was last January. I was in the mindset of, if I am going to turn things around in my business, it's up to me. If you feel that way and you know that it's up to you, if you know you are the person to bring your business to the fullness of what it is to be, put "it's up to me" in the chat. Now, we want to give everybody a few minutes to get on. So if you will, go ahead and tag your accountability partners. Go ahead and let everyone know that we're on, because tonight I am on fire and I am so excited about what we're going to discuss. Over the last year, I've heard so many people complain about team. How many of you can say, uh-oh, I'm guilty? I've heard people complain about the status quo in their business. How many of you can say, I'm guilty? I'm guilty of that. But tonight, I want you guys to really understand, and I want you to really take control of the fact that, listen, if you're going to make changes in your business, if you want to make sure that your business grows and flourishes, that you are the one. It's up to you to make the changes. It's up to you to make the differences. It's up to you to be committed to your dream. And you have to take that authority full throttle and say, listen, if it's going to be, it's up to me. If it's going to be, it's up to me. It doesn't matter who gets discouraged. It doesn't matter who shows up. It doesn't matter who's committed. I'm committed. I'm going to show up. I'm going to give myself the tools. I'm going to give myself the ammunition. I'm going to give myself the encouragement and the affirmation to say, you know what? I am the one. I am the one. I'm the one that's going to make a difference. I'm the one that's going to find solutions. I'm the one that's going to build a big, thriving team. I'm the one that's going to fill up this daycare. I am the one that's going to build legacy for my family. I am the one that's going to change it around. I'm the one who is going to pull me out of overwhelm. I'm the one who's going to create solutions. I'm the one who's not going to give up. If you are the one, put "I am the one" in the chat. This was a pivotal moment for me last January. It was a pivotal moment where I said, listen, the things that are stacked up against me, I got to use them as a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block. And because at that point, I was like, listen, I'm ready to sail. I know that there's an easier way than this. I am tired. I have been doing this for 10 years. And I knew that I was good at what I was doing. I knew that I had the goods. But something seemed not to be coming together. And I realized that I was making all kinds of excuses and that it was time for me to take control of my business. And last year is when I came up with this Plan Your Bootcamp challenge, right? Because I said, listen, if we are going to be the one, if we're going to change the direction of our childcare centers, if we're going to be the light in our community, then we have to do something different. So tonight, I hope that you are ready, because I am ready. I'm so excited about everything that we do in Childcare Millionaires. So who is this loud lady screaming to you? You are the one, because I do believe that you are the one. My name is Brandy Wood Smith. I am the CMM at Childcare Millionaires. That is the Chief Millionaire Maker. We here at Childcare Millionaires support centers into becoming seven-figure centers. We're so excited that you decided to join us for these next 4 days. We hope that you are encouraged. We hope that you find solutions for your center. And more than anything, we hope that you find the will to move on further and faster. So Childcare Millionaires is an organization dedicated to childcare owners and directors. Yes, we do things for teachers sometimes, but our organization is totally facing owners and directors. So do me a favor. Let me know in the chat if you're an owner or if you're a director. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. I want to hear from you. All right, I see owner. Yes. Oh, let's try to kick this person out of here. All right, owner. Good job. Good job. Owner and the director. So some of us have duplicitous roles in our center. For those of you who do, I really want you to hone in what we're going to talk about tonight, because tonight is all about people and processes. Just want to remind you guys, lock these dates in your calendar. May 18th through the 21st, we'll be in Houston, Texas for our Childcare Millionaires Live. You can come to meet us in person. Childcare Millionaires has several different programs. Our general membership, which is free, our accelerated membership, our mastermind, and our ascension program to help owners and directors across this nation. Last night, we talked about our Millionaire Manifesto. We invite you to say it with us. We invite you to internalize it. Hey, here we take action. We create an impact. Childcare Millionaires take action. We value collaboration. We don't let the circumstances of today stop the progress of tomorrow. Hey, dust off today, girl. We got work to do. We show up as leaders and we attract the team that we need and the team that we desire. We always create a solution. We invest at the level that we expect results, and we don't meet expectations, we exceed them. This is our mantra. This is our guiding force. When we need affirmation, when we need confirmation, when we need encouragement, we go back to this manifesto, because we here are Childcare Millionaires. We are a community of owners, and we are so happy that you're joining us. Now, on to our boot camp. Our goals are very clear. We have 3 goals. One is to help owners and directors really look back to move ahead. That's what day 1 yesterday was all about. How can we look at our business, what we did in the latter years, what we did last year and years before, what was good, what do we need to keep, and then what do we need to abandon? What do we need to let go of? It's very important that we take that time to reflect on exactly what we need to do. All right. Number 2 is to really plan for productive and profitable year. How can we be more profitable? One of the things last night, and y'all didn't remind me, so I'm going to tell you guys tonight how me building an executive team totally multiplied my income in a short amount of time. Me taking the pressure off of myself to do everything on my own, to making sure that our team was working full throttle. And last, to take control of your childcare business. If you go back to this video talking about us being the one, the whole purpose of what I was trying to convey is, hey, we can't wait on someone to save us. We can't wait on our staff to get right. We can't wait on a bank to decide we're bankable. We have to be solution oriented where we say, hey, I'm going to make a way and I'm going to find a way. And one of the ways you do that is through appropriate planning. So the ways that you're successful this week is, one, set your alarm for 6:55. We will start promptly at 7 o'clock every single night. We go through Thursday. Make sure you have your challenge pack printed and ready, or on your Remarkable or your iPad. Make sure you have access to it. Do your daily assignments. I'm so proud. We had 2 people post their work in the group today, and I know more is coming, but post your work. Join the conversation. We want to hear from you. And then we have badges in our Facebook group. So our badges look like this. So most of you have earned badge number 1. I'm registered badge number 2. I've answered my questions. Some of you have your success pack. Hopefully you've done your SWOT analysis. So pretty much you already can post 4 of the badges showing your work. Because when you show your work, that's how I decide who wins the prizes. So all of these badges, today we had Q&A. There were, maybe about 15 to 20 of us on, but we invite you, join us in Q&A, ask your questions, show up for yourself. We have another Q&A on Thursday. So here are some people who posted their work today. Shouts out to Sheila, answering her 21 questions. Shout out to Jamie. Not only did she answer her SWOT, she posted a video in the group. She sent me her 21 questions. Listen, Christina's telling you, y'all better do the work. Listen, I mail out my prizes. Do the work. Christina, did you choose your color on your luggage? I want to know. So we want to thank our sponsors, The Conscious Classroom, PB&J TV, A-Leaf Insurance, P with Jig Aerobics, So Tell Us, Classroom Panda, EFS Group, Childcare CRM, and Kangaroo Time. Thank you so much for being our sponsors for this year. So our most valuable player will get prizes. We already gave out our December prizes. This first prize was given out to the lovely Christina, who was telling y'all to show up and do your work, because she already knows that I give out great prizes. We also gave out a Chromebook last time, and that went to Janice Pledge, and then our walkies. But who will be our winners for January 2023, right? Our prizes for January 2023 will be a Remarkable. This is one of my go-to gadgets. This is definitely a millionaire tech gadget. You don't have to even worry about where the paper is. As long as you have this gadget, it uploads everything to the cloud. It makes taking notes easy, transferring notes, emailing your notes so simple. It is my go-to thing. That is our grand prize. Our second prize will be these wireless doorbells. We want you to have them. And our third prize is our faithful walkies. We love these walkies at Childcare Millionaires. All right. So day 1 was talking about taking a look back. Let's take an assessment. Have you started your 21 questions in your SWOT analysis? Did you do it? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Did you do it? I want to know. Take a moment and tell me. Take a moment and tell me. All right, keep going, keep dropping. So listen, if you've done it, did you post documentation in the group, or do you know how to join the group? So we have a Facebook group, and in this Facebook group, this is where we literally want you to be dropping all of the goodness that you're doing this week. I'm going to post the link to the Facebook group in the chat. That's where you need to post your work. Some of you will do the work and you won't post it, and you could have won a really nice prize, right? And doing the work, it joins in the conversation. It encourages others, okay? So I just want to make sure, hey, well, thank you for joining the group. If you're not in the group, make sure that you go ahead and join it. There is room for you in our community. There is room for us all in the community. We don't want you to think for 1 second that you are not valuable, that you're not loved. We want to make sure that you do a great job in making sure that you really hone in on what we're doing this week, because that's going to allow you to make really good plans for the future. All right. So post your work in the Facebook group. We want to see your work. 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 Okay. So don't forget to post your work. So day one, we talked about what it takes to be an effective leader. On today, we will be moving to day two, and we're going to talk about people and processes. But I have a question for you guys before we really, really get started. Which one do you need to work on the most this year? People, training, recruiting, retaining people, or making sure your people have the right processes and protocols to follow? So are you focused this year on people, or are you focused on processes? People or processes? People or processes? Okay, keep answering. So now I have a next question for you. My next question, and I really want your honest opinion. Who do you think was the main problem last year? You or your staff? Now, you're like, Brandy, this is rude. So, was the problem that you allow people to do what they wanted to do? That you didn't maybe give clear direction, that you didn't give consequences and rewards, or was the problem that people knew what to do and then they just decided not to do it, or you just didn't have enough qualified or highly qualified people? Which one do you think the problem was last year when it comes to staff? Was it you or was it them? Was it you or was it them? I see a lot of me's. I see a lot of me's. When I took assessment for myself, I had to just realize that, a lot of times we begin to reason with people who were unreasonable, right? Or we try to retain people just for the sake of numbers to make sure that, we stayed in ratio. But somewhere in that thought pattern, we literally watered down the effectiveness of our program and the power of our team. If you feel like you can relate to that, put a number 1 in the chat. If you feel like, hey, Brandy, I can relate to that. I can relate to I gave some people too many chances. I can relate to the fact that I had processes, but I didn't even always follow them. I can relate to the fact that I really didn't put my consequence structure into play like I should have last year. If you can say, hey, that's partly me, I feel like I can relate to that, put a number 1 in the chat. Yeah. And that is one of the really signs of people just coping, or not just coping in the way of I'm overwhelmed, but just trying to get through a difficult time. And many of us just wanted to make sure we kept somebody because it was hard to find anybody. But in doing that, we watered down the effectiveness of our team. So tonight we want to take our power back, and we want to have a good plan of how we can move forward. So you will need your workbook tonight. So make sure that you have your workbook. If you haven't gotten it, you can grab it. If you do have it, make sure that you have it handy. If you bought it in December, you do not need to buy it again. If you bought it in December, you do not need to buy it again. Okay, but you will need it on tonight. So people and processes are the two things that can literally activate and optimize your business. On the other hand, they can tear your business apart if you don't have the correct people and the correct processes. So this is the hierarchy of business needs. And when I think about this hierarchy and I think about where I am, you could also really relate it to what you need in your staff. So the first, literally the first baseline of all survival is in business is sales, right? Am I generating enough cash for my business to float, right? The second part is profit. Now, am I generating enough cash where I'm stable and I'm in a profit and I have the ability to expand? And then the third phase is order. I'm making money. Now I need to create efficiency in my business. The fourth is impact. Like, listen, we got the money down, we got processes, and now we're just really trying to make a greater impact in our community and with our families. And last but not least is legacy. And that legacy part where you're making a long-standing impact in your community or within your family. Based on this chart, where are you now? Are you in the sales phase where you're just trying to get your enrollment up? Are you in the profit phase where you're just trying to do more than break even? Or you're in the order phase where, your enrollment is good, but you're just trying to set everything straight? Are you in the impact phase or are you in the legacy phase? Which phase are you in? Hey, Antoinette, I put the link in the chat. What phase are you in? Okay. Some people says order, impact. This is a good phase to be in, Kalitha. Sales. This is where you're still really trying to fill the building up. You're trying to get some baselines. Sheena said, hey, I'm in that order phase. I've been in business long enough and I'm trying to bring structure and order. That order phase is really what gives you freedom too, guys. So what's missing from your business? Is it people? Is it processes? Or sometimes it may even be technology. So people is like who's doing the work. Do you have the right people in the right places? Processes is how stuff is done. Do people know your expectations? Do they know processes? Do they know the minimum standards? Do they know what your quality rating program expects? Do they know the ins and outs of your business? Do they know how to construct centers in the classroom? Do they know how to hold a parent-teacher conference? Do they have the processes? And last but not least, technology. It's like, what do we do with the stuff? Do you have programs and systems that make your work easier? So what's missing from your program? Is it people? Is it processes? Or is it technology? We're just taking an assessment of kind of where we are. Just taking an assessment. Jamie, you cannot put all four. Choose one. Okay, Teresa said people. She said, I feel like I got the processes down. I feel like I have appropriate technology, but I'm still working with this people situation. Okay. Let me know. Which one do you think is missing? So a lot of us we're kind of working as daycare dinosaurs, doing the things the old way, doing everything by paper, scheduling, files, enrollment, tuition packets. Everything we're doing is by hand, which will totally overwhelm us. if you don't have your packets electronic, if parents cannot fill out your packets with a PDF, if you don't have email systems set up, if you don't have ways to communicate with your parents, if you don't have ways for your parents to pay from their car, their home, their phone, then you're operating as a dinosaur. All right? We have any dinosaurs in here? If you do, have no fear. Daycare dinosaurs kind of use limited tools. They're all paper-based. They're people dependent. And I know you're saying, Brandy, well, everybody in childcare is people dependent. Not really. I'm position dependent. Like, kind of just like if you go into Chick-fil-A or McDonald's, they need certain positions. They're not necessarily tied to the person who's doing the position. The position is well thought of. The position is well documented. The protocols that cook does, that the infant teacher does, that the driver does, they are so focused on defining the position that really any person that has any work ethic can come in and fill the shoes of that position, right? And then daycare dinosaurs, they really have no processes. All the information is in their head, and they do a lot of talking, right? They can't necessarily give anyone anything to read about the process. They can't give them any videos to watch about processes. Even with parents, everything is talk, talk, talk. So that means they have to be there in order to get anything done. All right? Any more dinosaurs in the house? Where you feel like you have to be there to make the explanation. You have to be there to do the tour. You got to be there to give the paper, right? One of the things that we want to do when we're honing in on our people and our processes is we want to figure out what positions do we need to make our child care centers run smoother, and what processes do we need to make our child care center run smoother. So the first person that we need to make sure is in order is you as the owner director. What do you need to do? And what do you need to stop doing? How many of you know you do jobs in your center that are literally minimum wage jobs that you should not be doing? If so, put ouch in the chat. If you know that you're doing jobs in your center that you should absolutely not be doing, just put ouch in the chat. Patricia is my first ouch. Right? One of the key things to go from being a daycare dinosaur or a daycare Frankenstein, where you just got everything pieced together, to becoming a lean, mean generating machine, revenue generating machine, is learning your role, right? So we're going to do this activity tonight. And basically, I'm going to give you a few minutes. And I want you to begin to list all the tasks that you currently do. Do you cook? Do you answer the phone? Do you drive? Do you do schedule? Do you pay bills? What do you currently do? I'm going to give everybody about 2 minutes. I'm not going to even talk. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes. And I just want you to write down the things that you currently do. And then the next step is I want you to circle the things that normally fall through the cracks. Things that go unattended. Things that, you may forget. I'm going to give you guys about 2 minutes to do that. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys about 30 more seconds. You can write this in your workbook. You're literally trying to list everything you do. Cook, clean, open, close. Are you in the classroom? Are you helping changing? Do you do the schedules? Do you do the taxes? Do you do bills? Do you do lesson plans? Do you make copies? Whatever you do, I want you to write it on this list. So the next part of this activity is just really circling what goes unattended and neglected. I shared with you guys last night, that man, my like normal reviews that I do with my staff, I was having a really hard time keeping up with them because of my training schedule last year. And one of the things that we did is in our executive team, we just literally took a day and we had a training on how to do a review, because I literally have 28 employees, not including myself and my husband. 28 employees. I was doing all 28 of those reviews. Like, that was overwhelming, right? And I found that it was going through the cracks. And I'm like, but we have 3 administrators on every campus. Why can't they get together and do their 14 per campus? Let me approve them and get this off my list. Now, this makes us seem like a more cohesive company. We're keeping our deadlines. We're doing what we say. So the things that are going unattended, you're going to decide. This is a new page. If you look at change words, you're going to decide what task can I train others to do and delegate, right? This is a good one, payroll. So now my directors, even though they don't submit payroll, because like most of you, when it comes to the big money, I want to submit, right? But they do go in and check their employees' time to make sure there are no time discrepancies. So by the time I look at it, I can just say approved, right? What's something else that you think that you can do that would free up your time, or you can train someone else to do? One thing I do not do is I do not answer the phone. One of the reasons why I don't answer the phone is because it is a time trap. How many of you have ever answered the phone? You thought you were going to be on the phone for 1 minute and you were on the phone for 30 minutes, an hour, 15 minutes, and you got trapped on the phone? Oh, I just refuse to do it. Now, I will take a call. I will let them take a message, but at least I can gather the information, but I do not answer the phone anymore, right? Another thing that I just do not do, I do not collect the lesson plans anymore. So we have a lead teacher. She collects the lesson plans and she makes sure that all of the documentations for the lesson plan. And then if someone doesn't turn it in, she reports that to the director, right? Because the lead teacher is the person that's helping them do their lesson plans, helping them pull things. The vet says, I don't do tours anymore, right? I've trained someone to do tours. I always say, delegate what's going to make you money first. These are things that you can train people to do, especially if you're forgetting them or not doing them well already. Happy birthday to that. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. So, some things we just need to stop doing because they are sucking up our time and they're taking away our ability to work on the business. And then kind of stopping and talking about, hey, what will be my new role? What is going to be my new role? For me, as a CEO, because I have directors, my job is to bring in money, to bring in partnerships, and to make sure our policies and procedures are keeping us healthy, right? Now, I will change a baby if I have to. I will drive a van if I have to, but that's just not in my normal day-to-day. So is your normal day-to-day allowing you to manage a well-run center? And if the answer is no, Brandy, I don't have time, I do feel overwhelmed, that means you need to change your owner's role. You need to rewrite your job description. Because many of you are not doing good at your job because you're doing everybody else's job. I told you yesterday, building out an executive team, building out somebody who is dedicated to staffing, building out someone who is dedicated to tours. And this could be the same person, but everything does not need to be on you. Now, you can't put all those things on one person either because they're going to feel just like you. But there has to be someone else in the building who says, hey, you know what? I can do amazing tours. I can do amazing first interviews. I'm really good at auditing files. I'm really good at that. And for those of you who have homes, you may have friends, teenagers say, I'm really good at crafting. I'm really good at decoration. I'm really good at cleaning. I can come in 30 minutes at the end of the day and clean up for you. So I don't believe homes should not have helpers. I am a big believer that if you have a home center, you should have an assistant at least a few hours a day. And if it can be every day, a few days a week, have someone to come in and help you. So you won't be fatigued. So you don't spend your weekend doing paperwork. So you having a helper that works 10 to 12 hours a week, what, you're going to pay $100? Is it worth it? Absolutely. And maybe if you have a big academic program, maybe this person can come and help you just at night. I mean, just at nap time. Or just in the afternoon. Or just in the morning. But you can find a helper to help you 3 or 4 hours a day. And I always tell people, if you can't do it during the week, find you some weekend heroes. It's like, hey, this weekend, can you help me come and redo the bulletin boards? Can you help me come and check files? If you're home and you don't have someone to help you during the day, see if you can have someone that maybe commit to helping you a few hours on the weekend, plan for the next week. Remember, my first center was like the size of a large family home. It was only 19 kids. So I do understand it was me and one other employee. I do understand having the bulk of the weight on you, but you do have to find different ways where you can help. My weekend warriors are my friends. Like, sometimes I'll call my cousins and I'll be like, hey, can y'all come help me clean up and paint, do a deep clean, come help me set up these toys. I have a little girl at church. You know how the batteries in all of the toys, you need to change them? But when I'm at choir rehearsal, I'll get some batteries and some toys. Girl, she would use to change those batteries out in the toys. Like, simple things can really, really help you buy your time back. Does that make sense? So I want you guys to list one thing that you are committed to delegating to someone else. One thing that you are committing to delegating to someone else. Give me one thing. Because I don't want you to feel like you have to do everything on your own. Come on, you can do it. Cleaning, all right? Lessons and lesson planning. What else? I'm telling you, somebody else can put those groceries in Instacart. If you give them a list, arts and crafts, the food program. I used to have my goddaughter come and help me with the food program on the weekend when I had my small center. We would do the POS during the week. You know how you do the checks? But then on the weekend, we would just put it in mini menu. We use mini menu then. Now we use Center Pilot. But I would do the work, and then on the weekend, she would help me put it in the computer. It would take her 15 minutes. It would take me like 9 hours. Grocery store shopping, right? I'm going to tell you, Jamila, my hack for this is we have a rotating menu. I order the same things every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks. It's like same order. Unless we have a surplus. Yes, and people will tell you what they like to do. They will tell you what they like to do. You have some people who are natural born organizers. They're natural born organizers. They love that. If your desk is a mess, not calling any names, but if your desk is a mess, have someone sort that paper into like junk mail, papers that need to be filed. And then as you go through them, you can literally have somebody with some manila folders and say, okay, put this in the taxes file. Put this in the food service file. Put this in the application file. And literally, you're going through it, but they're organizing it for you. Right? So if your office is a mess, you're sending the message to your teachers that it's okay for you to have an unorganized classroom. Get some help doing these tasks. If you know you need to do a file review, and nap time a few days, one day show everybody, give them a checklist of what a file goes through, and go, okay, let me see yours, what's missing. All right, now do another one, okay. And then give them a stack of 10, get through those files in a few days. A lot of you, I don't want to hurt your feelings. A lot of you are doing way too much work because you don't want to seem like you're bothering anybody. You don't want to ask for help, right? You want to make sure that you are seen as this, but they see you struggling. Let your staff help you. Let your family help you. Kira, I'm not sure of your question. If you pay them cash, how would I don't pay anybody cash. Nobody cash. If they are a contractor and I'm paying them, I'm at least paying them with a check. I pay nobody cash. The IRS cannot track cash. You cannot deduct cash. I don't pay anybody cash. Okay? All right, let's go to our next section. So our next section really talks about who you need as a staff. Who works for you really, really matters. And we know that the work pool is a little different. We know that people stay on jobs less and less time, but there are some really dedicated workers out there. Sometimes that's about us offering the right thing for them. One of the things that we started putting in our job description to help us for people with some college, we started looking for a higher qualified staff member, because this is the truth. People want to make more now, whether they're qualified or not. So if I'm going to hire you, then if I'm going to pay you more, I might as well ask for more upfront, because I'm looking for a more dedicated worker. So I encourage you to use this form with you and your administrators, and you guys are going to talk about what do we really want in our staff, right? Do we really want experienced people, or do we want dependable people? Do we mind having people who have children in our center, or do we really want to stay away from that? What soft skills do we want? Like, what does our team need? Because of our demographic, I always need at least one bilingual person on my staff. But one of the things that you need to say, even what qualities does my director have? A lot of times we're promoting people because they're faithful, but they're not directors. Faithful does not automatically equal director. So they could have been great in the classroom, but if they have no training and no leadership guidance, you just took a great teacher and set them up for failure. Has anybody ever done that? You promoted someone into leadership, and although they were great in one role, it really didn't translate into the other role. I know that I have. So one of the things, and I spoke about this last night, that really brought us across the threshold is really building out people, an executive team, and really teaching them how to do their job really, really, really well. And then encouraging them to find a protege to begin to help them. So just really building capacity in people. So like my director, I tell her, have 2 people that can always help you with files, whether they're new files or old files. So both of our openers and closers, they know now how to take a file and audit it. Used to, they would just take the folder from the parents and put it on her desk. Now they know how to audit that file before it even gets to her, which takes a lot of pressure off of her. They know, don't accept these students unless they have a complete file and you have it all clear. Just so teaching more people, even if they're in the classroom, how to do more roles is important. Cross-training is important. So we're always hiring in my facility. We're always hiring. I go over this all the time. We hire slow, we fire fast, but we have a killer kick butt training program, right? So when we're hiring people, we don't really care if they have a lot of hard skills. We care if they have good character, good integrity, if they're timely, if they are sane. I don't know. It's like the amount of people with mental health issues has skyrocketed. So please ask the right questions in your interviews, because people are like short fuse, quick to anger, quick to just pop off, say crazy things. And so if you don't really get to know who you're hiring, and if they show you any of their crazy very early on, you need a plan to eradicate that or to address those behaviors, to make people that have behaviors that are not your standard, make them feel really uncomfortable in your space. You make them feel uncomfortable by addressing the things that are not up to your standards and protocol. If you ignore them, they account that as permission to proceed. So if you are not talking to people about coming in late, they think that it's okay for them to come in late. If you're not addressing people being on their phone, that is permission in their mind for them to be on their phone. You have to confront things that are against your policy and your code. So what is the real cost of a new hire? And I always go over this because I really want you to understand the real cost of a new hire is not just your time to interview them and that first day of training. Your cost as a new hire is about $2,000 to $5,000. You're like, wow, how did you get that number? Well, I'm going to spend hours searching for you. I'm going to spend hours interviewing you. I'm going to spend hours following up and doing your background check. Then I'm going to pay to do your background check. I'm going to set up your file. Then I'm going to do orientation. The trainer and the trainee is going to get paid. Then your first 5 days of training, I'm definitely not leaving you alone with kids. Then if you add in CPR, the first 6 weeks of them really getting proficient, and then all of the supplies, by the time you look at it, you spend somewhere around $4,000. Right? And so if you would not just give that person $4,000, if you do not feel like that person is worthy of $4,000, don't give them an offer letter. Right? Some of us are setting ourselves up for failure. You're like, I knew it was something about them. Well, if you knew that, why did you put them on your payroll? I knew something was off about him. You know what? If I would have followed my first mind, how many of us have said that statement? So we really encourage you, before you give somebody an offer letter, you need to decide, is this person my ideal person? Because the truth about it is, the person that shows up to the interview is not the person who shows up to work 90% of the time. You're getting the best version of them at the interview. The best version of them. So you got to look under the best version of them and say, if I had issues with the best version of you, are you going to be able to carry out my policies and procedure? Are you going to be able to help us reach our vision of becoming the best center in our community? Are you going to be able to have a good conflict resolution? Are you going to be able to critically think when it comes to these kids? Are you going to be able to supervise? Because I don't want you to be shocked and confused when something in your gut already told you, right? So one of the things I tell people to do is really identify the technicians and managers on your staff. The technicians are people who do the work, but managers are people who make sure the work is done. So you remember yesterday we made a list of our employees. We gave them a red light, green light, or a red light, yellow light, or a green light. Now I want you to say, hey, are there any managers here? Or is there anyone else besides me making sure people do their work? Another thing you can do with that same employee list is say, who on this list can help me with other things in the center? Do you have a lady who loves to clean up that maybe wouldn't mind doing deep cleaning on Saturdays? Do you have a person who is great at organizing? Do you have a person that is great at following checklists? A person who's great at decorating? They don't have to have a new job title for you to compensate them or for you just to ask them to do a special project, right? On here, I put hire better, and I'm also going to put hire often. My goal is to interview at least 10 people a month. That's my goal. Whether I need someone or not, I'm always hiring. I want to interview. I want new talent. I don't want to be boxed in with teachers that are not performing. Do you have a goal of how many people you interview a month? If so, put yes. If not, put no. If you have a goal of how many people you interview. So this is kind of our process. We use Indeed. We also take applications on our website. We try to vet those people, call them. And then the people who go through our vetting process, our phone interview, we feel like that they're worthy to come in for an interview, then we do interviews. Typically, we try to do 2 days a month where we kind of batch everybody together. Sometimes that won't work because if people are working on another work schedule. And this keeps people in our pipeline for when we do need to hire people. So I'm always interviewing. I'm always looking for people on Indeed. I'm always interviewing because I'm looking for talent. I'm looking for talent. And this is what I know. One teacher typically can account for 10 students. Like, now I know there's the infant room and I know that there's a toddler room, and in those rooms you may not have exactly 10, but if you balance it out with your after schoolers and your pre-K, you get about 10 students to every teacher. 10 students for every teacher. Patricia said she used Indeed and it was not good. Check your job description, right? Your job description will either get you a lot of trash or it may get you some quality. The other thing we do is we give tasks in Indeed, and we go to people that do those tasks. So we know that it's just a net, right? Just like if you lay a net in the water and you're fishing, you're going to get a whole slew of stuff, and then you have to pick and choose and weed out who you want to interview. But the goal of Indeed is to get more people to look at, right? The goal of accepting applications on our website is to get more people to look at. The goal of putting our job descriptions on Google and putting our job descriptions on Facebook is to get more people to look at, right? Just attracting people is a skill. So we try to weed them out, then do a phone interview, then do an in-person interview. We got sick of people not showing up to interviews just like everyone else. So, we also, once we set up an interview, we have a follow-up process where they get a text, they get an email, they get a text the morning of their interview, because we are trying to ensure that we're not wasting our time. Once we do the phone interview, we do ask them to send us if we don't have a resume on them, we ask us to send them a resume, or we ask them to email us their hours of availability. Why do we do that? We want to get them used to completing tasks. It's a part of our routine. We want to see if they can follow instructions. So if we say, okay, great, we would love to set up an interview with you. Do me a favor, take this email down and just email us your hours of availability. And we're going to email you something back to fill out. Very simple. We're getting them used to completing tasks with us. We're actually training them of what we want them to do. And then create a formal and informal management plan. For those of you who are in our membership, we have so many, we have an observation tool or management plan. And over the next few months, we're really going to be talking about how can we really create a space to really nurture and grow employees. So here are 5 ways you can reduce hiring costs. 1, mass hire. And when I say mass hire, I mean, literally, if you need 3 people, try to hire 5. If you need 5, try to hire 7. Everybody's not going to make it through orientation. But I also don't like to train one off. I normally make sure we're training at least 3 people at one time, just so I'm not wasting the manpower of my staff to train them. Create or buy training videos for new hires can watch before their first day or on their first day. We have a childcare supervision class. We ask them to take. It's actually a free class through something that Texas does. We ask them to take that before their first day, and we let them know that we will pay them for those hours on their first check, right? What are we doing? We're getting them used to completing things on their own. We're getting them to be more independent. Have your hero trainers, right? These are hero trainers, people besides you that can train people whose hour is not as costly as your hour. And so when we do our training, this is our training week this week, I do go in, I introduce myself, but our directors and assistant directors and lead teachers really do most of the training, right? Our directors go through the handbooks and the paperwork and all of that. Our lead teachers, they let the teachers shadow them and they take them through the classroom checklist, how to do a lesson plan. Those people's hours are less costly than my hours. So really, I think about who can help you train. Require new hires to submit all paperwork before starting. Have y'all ever hired someone and 2 weeks later you're waiting on something? Yep. That's because you didn't make them turn it in first. If you make them turn it in first, they're going to bust their butt to get it done. If you let them start, they're not going to bust their butt to get it done. And then require applicants to have prerequisites to qualify for the position, right? This is where I'm like, hey, we're looking for people with some college. We're looking for people with a driver's license. You would be surprised. Oh my God. How many adults do not have a driver's license? When did that become a norm? I'm like, everybody don't have an ID. You driving to the job with no license. Something's not right about this. But require them to have prerequisites. Like for us, they do a supervision class. They do a food handlers class, which is like an hour. And oh my God, it's one other class that they do. It skipped my mind. I'm gonna think about it in a second. In just a second. Oh, a professionalism class. And it talks about professionalism in the workplace, about how you should dress, how you should talk. What do we do with students? And we recorded that class and they watch it. So they do those 3 things. And most people ask me, do I compensate them for the time? Yes, I do. If they show me their printing certificate. All right. And for them to be on the normal schedule, they have to have presented those 4 things to us. All right. A clear background check, their supervision class, their safe serve class, and their professionalism class. And we give them a certain amount of time to do it. So people don't work without processes. You can have great people and not have the right processes. So you have to make growing your staff a priority. So in your workbook, there's this little sheet called Plan Your Year, right? And it doesn't have the year on it because yours is for 2023. Like, what staff trainings are you going to focus on every month? What staff events are you going to do to promote like culture? Are you going to have a breakfast one morning? Are you going to have a Saturday training? Are you going to have bowling with Miss Woods? What are you going to do to make sure that your staff just has that camaraderie? And then staff promotions. Right now, we're doing a longevity promotion. Anyone who started with us in August, we call that our school year, they were able to qualify for three $300 bonuses because we wanted longevity. If they stayed until December, I think the date was actually November 30th. They stayed until November 30th, they got a $300 bonus. If they stayed until February 1st, they got another $300 bonus. And if they stay until May 31st, they get another $300 bonus. Why do I do that? Because I want people to stay, right? And I'd rather give them a little extra if they're staying than hire someone new. And there were some other requirements to that, like they had to have a certain percentage of attendance. There were some things that they had to do. It couldn't be like, hey, they were a warm body, they were not doing what they need to do, and they get the bonus. But it was better for us to offer them a way to bonus themselves by staying faithful, by turning in their lesson plans, by coming to work on time, right? It was better for us to give them a bonus than to keep hiring new people. One promotion we did was like, if you had perfect attendance when gas was really, really high, we were giving out $50 gas cards. Man, they love that. In the month of February, which is normally our self-care month, if you have perfect attendance, maybe you get like a $50 gift card. Like we did it to like, we have like what do you call it? Spa Envy? No, something like that. Envy Spa or something. And so if you had perfect attendance in February, we loved on you by giving you a gift certificate for a massage. So staff promotions don't have to be expensive though. It could be, a pizza party. It could be breakfast with the director. It could be enter in to win drawings for $5 Chick-fil-A cards. But just have something that's going to keep your staff motivated throughout the year. Because you want to build a strong army. And the way that people know about your army is they know how can they move up, right? Then they have basic training. This is like when they first come in. Then field training. This is when you are training on a routine basis. And then drills. Sometimes you just got to go in and do spot checks and make sure that their employees are healthy. So one of the things that staff need is clear procedures. Sometimes we think we're talking clear, but it's like all jumbled up in their head. So guys, put it in writing. Everybody in the chat, put it in writing. If it isn't written, it isn't real. Put it in writing. Let people know what you expect. Put it in writing. If you have a new procedure, put it in writing. If you have a checklist, put it in writing. All right? I want to see it. Put it in writing. People cannot remember everything that you're saying. They don't remember. You sound like this to them. Wah, 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 wah. And then sometimes we even forget what we said. I know I'm guilty of that. I'll be like, I said that? Really? So put it in writing so you understand the expectation, they understand the expectation, and the expectation is clear, right? Then you have something to go back to. And if it's really important, put it in writing and make them sign. 60% of people say they have a difficulty getting information that they need to do their job well. Don't be that boss. Don't be that boss that say, oh, I'm going to tell you in a minute. Oh, yeah, I forgot. Put it in writing. Hold yourself accountable. People like procedures. 94% of employees said they would have stayed at their job longer if their company invested in helping them learn. When people leave, especially if they've only worked for you for a short time, if you actually would interview them, most of them will say, the job got hard because they didn't really know what to do. Because we started doing this rapid fire training. Like, bam, 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 bam. You got it, you got it, you got it, you got it. And they really didn't have a good grasp on the job. And then they became overwhelmed. And they feel like before I make a mistake with these kids, I'm going to leave. So we stack our training. Even though we have a week of training when people first start, every Friday we do a special training with our new hires, and we meet with them and we make sure that the things that they learn the first week is sticking, right? And then we do something called teach backs, where they'll teach us something to make sure we can make sure that they've learned it. People need an opportunity to practice what they learned. But sometimes we're like, okay, these are our rules. These are our rules. Okay, now watch this teacher. See how she changed. That's good. See how she washed her hands. That's good. This is a lesson plan. All you got to do, sometimes they can color. Sometimes they can watch TV. Sing your ABCs. Sing a song. You got it? Okay, bye. And we leave them for 6 weeks. And then one day they leave for lunch and they never come back. It's because they feel overwhelmed. So slowing your training down, making sure you're putting everything in writing, making sure that you have processes, making sure that you're organized, people will stay. People don't want to be a part of chaos. They just don't. People do not want to be a part of chaos. But because we've lived in the chaos so long, sometimes we don't even realize it's chaotic. Have you ever walked into somebody's house and it just smells funny? And you're like, oh, y'all smell it? But they don't smell anything. Right? Don't get used to the stench. Don't get used to rushing. Don't get used to being disorganized. Right? Don't get used to that stench. Take your time and really train people. So we do the Friday meetings. Simone, that's a good question. We do the Friday meetings every Friday for the first 6 weeks. For the first 6 weeks. Our directors do a lot of meetings on Fridays. They also meet with anybody who is on probation. We write you up 2 times, you're going to be on probation. The first time for 4 weeks, the next time for 6 weeks. And we just find when people have that constant time to communicate, then things don't snowball. So I'm going to ask you in the chat, and I want you to answer. How often are you talking to your new hires after their first week? Let me hear you in the chat. Now, there's 80 of us on, so don't be giving me no answers. After their first week, how often are you meeting with them during that probationary period? Once a week? Once every 2 weeks? Or not at all? Let me know in the chat. And Sheena said daily. So are those drive-bys or are those real conversations? Okay? Or are you just checking in daily? Okay. Natalie said, hey, after the first week, I'm not really meeting with them at all. I'm telling you, that's like 80% of people I talk to. Well, I told them, well, just remember your first time you started a job in your first week, you didn't contain all of that. Right? So give them a little log. And if you're not the kind of person who is going to follow through, tell them, hey, every Friday, bring me your log during your lunch break so we can talk. Put it back on them. And if Friday is a bad day for you, do it on Thursdays. Okay? And try not to do it in the midst of class. I love this, Teresa. Teresa says, the morning I drop into their class or longer if they're down for a nap. If they have students, if you want them to supervise them, don't try to have real conversations with them. You can co-teach with them. You can be in their class with them. You can watch them. But don't try to have a conversation or training with them. Make sure that you are, respecting what you wanted them to do with supervision. So even if you have to give them a little training log and say, hey, every week, this is your passport. This is your ticket to greatness. Every week, you can have a space for the date, what you guys discuss in y'all signature. Every week, we're going to talk about something. Come to me every Friday on your lunch break. Put the pressure back on them. But I guarantee you giving them that feedback is going to make them a better employee. So also just remember, as you're putting it down, make sure you're writing SOPs. If you don't know how to do this, join us in our membership. We have a whole section on writing SOPs. A whole section, right, on writing the steps. And if you've never done it before, we don't have time to teach you how to do it tonight, but literally, we have a whole section dedicated on how do you write SOPs or standard operating procedures. Here's some that everyone should have. You should have these 7. I'm going to give you 2 weeks, but you should have these 7 if you don't have any others. Opening procedures. How do you open the building and how do you open the classroom? What things should they do? End of the day procedures. How do they close a classroom at the end of the day? Like, we're not allowed to stack chairs in our building. You want to know why? One day, one of the kids tried to unstack the chair, it hit him in the mouth, and his tooth fell out. We don't never stack chairs anymore in my building. An enrollment procedure. That's how you make money, right? One person can take care of 10 kids. That means one teacher is worth $100,000 to you because they can bring in 10 students. A director can manage a building of 100. So that director can be worth $1 million to you. A director of operations, they can handle 3 buildings. The director of operations is worth $3 to $5 million to you. But not if they can't enroll kids. So how do we enroll kids? How do we do a tour? How do we do our enrollment packet? The 4th procedure everybody should start with is class transition, right? It's 2 kinds of class transitions. When you're moving a student to a brand new class, right? And when students are moving throughout the building, you should have both of those. Incident and illness. If something happens to a kid, what do? Non-payment procedure. If a parent ain't paying, they ain't staying. What is your procedure for that? And then if you have someone else that does interviews, you want to have a procedure of how to recommend a new hire. What are all the things that a person needs to have to say, hey, I think this is a good candidate. And if you're doing the hiring, you need to have the same thing, right? They need to have all that paperwork. They need to do an interview. They need to have this kind of availability. They need to be dependable. They need to have at least 2 references checked. They need to have a clean background. But these 7, take a picture of them. Take a picture of them. When you're done taking a picture of it, put done in the chat. These 7 SOPs are the top SOPs I think everyone should start with. Yes, that's right, Jaquina. 10 kids, on average, a teacher is going to have about 10 kids. And I mean, I know in your infant room there may be 4, and in your pre-K room there may be 15. But on average, every teacher you hire is going to allow you to take 10 more kids. All right. So are we committed 2 weeks to having these procedures done? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. All right, guys. Tonight, our class is coming to an end. We are right on time. So listen, I wanted to share with you guys your homework assignments for tonight. You are going to finish your owner analysis role. What are you doing? What is falling through the cracks? And then what are you going to start delegating? Number 2, you're going to finish a staff avatar page. What are you looking for in a director? What are you looking for in a staff member? Number 3, excuse me, guys. You're going to look at that staffing yearly plan. What trainings are you going to do every month? What promotions are you going to do with your staff? What do you do with your staff to build relationships, to build that very, very, very strong culture? Now, I want to tell you guys about something that we are starting this month. Most of you guys know that we have our Childcare Accelerator. This year in our Childcare Accelerator, we are calling it the Childcare CEO Intensive. If some of the things that we talked about today, you're like, oh my God, I got to do better at these things, we invite you to come and do it with us. Those 8 SOPs that we just talked about, hey, we're going to be knocking those out together. So I want to tell you a little bit about our Childcare Intensive. So our normal accelerator membership, which the Childcare Intensive is a part of, we have a masterclass every month. We have a Q&A every single month, expert training, and member work sessions. But when I tell you guys, it's so full of forms, tools, classes, or anything that you can think of. I know some of you say, man, I really need to brush up on my budgeting. There are classes on that. I really need to learn how to conduct a proper interview. There are classes on that. I really need to market my center better. There are classes on that, along with resources. And we also have live classes every single month. So the Childcare CEO Intensives are really for owners and directors who want fresh ideas and really are ready to strengthen their program. Right? This is for directors and owners who want a clear roadmap to success. You're like, hey, Brandy, everything you're saying is practical, but I just need to take time and do it. Childcare owners who desire financial wellness. Now, tomorrow, we do our finance class. And the thing I love about the finance class is when you leave tomorrow, I guarantee you will know more about your money than you've ever known. If you took it in December, tell them. I go hard in the paint when it comes to numbers and finances. I don't play. So if you're ready to fill your empty seats, you're ready to fill your bank account, then you need to be in the Childcare Intensive. It's also for people who want to create staffing solutions. Some of you are like, okay, Brandy, I'm not staffing correctly. And I've been thinking I'm losing staff because of them. Maybe I'm losing staff because of our procedures. Maybe I'm not really dedicated on interviewing enough people. I need some staffing solutions. And the last thing, the child care owners and directors who are ready to create a business you love and that can love you back. We already established yesterday that 2022 tried us, right? But we are determined to win. And I believe that it's better together. How many of you feel just even stronger? You feel like more invigorated. You feel like you can do this just after being here for 2 days. If you just feel better about the decision to be an owner and be a director, just put better in the chat. Just imagine if you had that push, every single month that like, okay, I can do this. Okay, this is what I need to do. This is the solution for it. If you feel like, man, if I could just have a little bit of that consistently, I know I can get through. If I just had a sister who I could ask a question to, or someone I can say, okay, I really need that monthly form that you're talking about, that weekly form when I need a new hire. Can you give me that resource? Absolutely. I really don't have a training program. There's a 5-day training program in the CEO Intensive. I really don't know how to work my budget. Hey, there's a budget class in the CEO Intensive. I really need to redo my handbooks. Man, there are free handbooks for staff and students in the CEO Intensive. If you feel like I just need a little bit more help to get me through, I just need a little bit more guidance to help me through, I just need somebody I can ask a question to every once in a while, then the CEO Intensive is for you. So the CEO Intensive, we're going to start with 6 parts. Now, our membership is monthly. It's year-round. There's no contract, but we have a special thing that we're doing now. The first thing we're going to do in the first few months is talk about clarity. We're going to get those 8 SOPs done. We're going to establish some goals, and we're going to make sure that you complete your annual plan. And that's our first goal in January. Part 2 is really talking about effective team, our staff management plans, our company culture. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to have several months where we talk about team. Part 3 is operations. How do I really run this not like a dinosaur? How do I make sure my marketing is automated? How do I make sure that I'm getting more reviews? What do I do when I get a bad review? How do I raise my rates without parents getting mad at me? How do I communicate staff that we're having major changes, right? Part 4. Y'all know I'm all about this, and that's financial wellness, right? Budgeting reboot, financial management, knowing what to ask your bookkeeper, your CPA. I shared with them my budget on Sunday. I actually showed them, like, hey, this is what it should look like. And then what are your finances telling you? Or your finances telling you you should be growing? Is your finances telling you you need to slow down? Is your finances telling you you need to enroll? What are your finances telling you? And then part 5 is that CEO strength training, where we will definitely have panel sessions and specialized people come and talk to us to ask your targeted questions. And last but not least, a big part of our program is accountability. We were on today asking questions, sharing real situations. And when you realize, Cherry and Jasmine, when you realize, Deshonda, that there are other people out there, they're just like you, they're trying to make it happen. Londa, when you have a safe environment to come and ask a question, Kim, when you don't feel judged, because normally in our circle, we're the smartest people, right? So we don't have anybody to lean on. How many of us are the smartest person, or we're the most successful person, or we make more money than anybody in our family? If that's you and you are the top dog where you are put number 1, right? You on top, you are number 1. But what happens when the number 1 needs help? Right? Because most of our family cannot relate to us having to pay a $20,000 payroll. Most of our family cannot relate, oh my God, I need to do this food service paperwork. I need to go and buy 20 more gallons of milk. Most of them cannot relate that a parent is furious with us because a teacher let a kid go home wet. Most of them cannot relate to the stress that we have if a kid has a seizure and has to go to the hospital by ambulance. Who do we talk about with these things? We don't talk to anybody. So we end up being totally stressed out, right? There's not a lot of people that really understand our day-to-day industry. They really think we just watch kids. Baby, if we just watched kids, I'm gonna tell you, our life would be so much easier. But we watch kids, we keep compliance, we are a cook, we are first aid, we are therapists, our parents, our teachers. We deal with the fire marshal, the health department. We deal with regulatory, the USDA. I'm going to tell you, the job that we do is massive. But guess what? At the end of the day, the job that we do is so important. And if our teachers need support, as owners and directors, we need support. Right? There's no reason why you need to feel alone in this industry. Not when there is support for you. And for me, it doesn't matter if you get support here or someone else. Just get support. I'm happy with you just getting support. So our CEO intensive, no matter what, it includes all the things we described. Some people are like, hey, I need to do it monthly. Our program is $99 a month. Literally $25 a week. That means it's less than $3 a day. And you have all of the things that we talked about. You have access to, including all of everything that we do new each month. But some people are like, hey, listen, I like a good deal. And some people are like, I would rather get 5 months free. So we have our yearly membership. And our yearly membership also has some extra bonuses. You get the replay to our last conference. And you also get this ultimate bundle, which will give you a lot of goodies for you and your staff to share. And you get a really steep discount, about $500 off what would be for the yearly. But for those of you who've been around for a little while and you're like, Brandy, I love you, I'm not going nowhere, but I also want to come to that conference that you do every year, then we invite you into our lifetime membership. We have 50 seats and we've already sold 27. So I think that leaves us with 23 more lifetime seats. This means once you join the program, you never, ever, ever, ever pay again. And then you also get a ticket, which is normally $7.99 to our conference in Houston. And you can choose whether or not you come in May or whether or not you come in November. We do our conference twice a year. So we wanted you guys to know about this program. We'll be talking about it all night, but it's nothing to it but to do it. We want you guys to be in it to win it. We are here to support you guys. I'm going to put both links. This bit.ly Childcare CEO works, but I'm going to put the other link in the thing. It's childcareceointensive.com. And listen, if you have any questions about the program, you can join us Thursday for the Q&A. You can also email us and we can tell you more about it. But when you go to the page, all the information is there. ChildcareCEOintensive.com. Thank you, Tamika. Tamika said this is the best money I've ever spent. Thank you. I appreciate that. We really are here to help owners and directors really, really level up. There's so many resources that we have. I put it in the chat, childcareceointensive.com. Yeah, she said, hey, listen, why don't play with me. Put this in the chat because I need to make sure that I check it out. Check out the information. We really want you guys to win. We're here for you to win. And so we did it 3 ways. If you just need to get your foot wet and do it monthly, do it monthly. If you're like, man, this is a good investment for me, I know it's tax deductible, I know I need a community to stay connected, then you can either choose the yearly or the lifetime. And those of you who are members who want to upgrade to the lifetime, you can. So our Childcare CEO Intensive is a place to learn and grow. Whether or not you join this intensive or not, we still invite you to be in the rest of the challenge. We invite you to do your homework. Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about finances. And then for the people who show up, I'm giving away prizes this week. First prize, I'm giving away a Remarkable. It's an electronic tablet that you can upload documents to. You can send documents on. Check out their website, remarkable.com. You will be in love with it. We're giving out the wireless doorbells with 4 different terminals. We're also giving out our walkies to our most visible participants. So make sure you go into the group, you post your homework, you ask your questions because we will be there. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about money, 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 money. And so if you're interested in money, if you really want to know, get a rock solid foundation of the money in your business, we invite you to join us tomorrow because that's where all of the fun is going to be going down on tomorrow. We're going to be really honing in to what you need to do to make sure that you have financial wellness in your business. So that's all that we have tonight. We really are excited about you being here, and we're excited about what we're going to do over the next few months. So join us, join us, join us, join us. Oh, yes, I will go back to that page. Give me 1 second. They're like, listen, I need to see that again. So you can do it monthly, Tawana, for $99 a month. You can do our yearly membership, which is $6.99 a year. So it gives you like 5 free months. Or you can do our lifetime membership, which that means forever, forever, forever. You don't have to pay again. And you also get a ticket to our conference in Houston. Oh, thank you, Sherry. Yes. And we have several people who've been in our program. They will, if you ask questions in the group, they will let you know. You don't have to just ask me. You can ask anyone. I'm confident about what we've done for our community. And we definitely invite you guys to be a part of what we're doing. All right, guys. So that ends us for tonight. We will see you tomorrow. On tomorrow, we will meet at the same time. We will meet at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. And here's just a little peek inside of some of the things that we do at our conference.
Man, we at this millionaires thing. You know what I'm talking about. Stop. You know exactly what I'm saying. This millionaire childcare thing, look, man, We're loving it. We're having such a good time here. We're learning so much. I'm learning how to deal with my honey. I'm learning how to deal with my money. I'm learning how to deal with some of these folks too that I don't like.
This is day one and I'm having an absolute great time. I flew all the way in, scared to get on the plane. And this is my first time getting on the plane in all of my life. And I'm so excited that I did it. If you haven't been here, you need to try. It's awesome. I had a great time. I'm having a great time.
Experience here at the Millionaires Conference has been awesome. Just the sisterhood and finally meeting the people that I've come in connection with face to face has been totally awesome. I love you, Brandy. Thank you for everything that you have done for me.
Nothing like the Childcare Millionaires Conference. Listen, every year you need to make sure you find yourself in the place. This morning we started out with Michelle DeJohnson and she told us how to build it, but not just build it, baby, how to build it big.
Y'all, I don't know how to say this. I hope y'all are hearing me on a deeper level than just your ears. Because some of you are about to walk into amazing opportunities where people are going to say, I just don't want this anymore. Will you take it?
And then I hit the stage and we rock the boat, we work the middle, and then we change positions. And we are going to go from being that tiny boat to a huge ship. And then tonight we are going to party, party, party. And we invite you back to celebrate with us this year, next year, every year. Because at Childcare Millionaires, we constantly go to the bank, baby.
A lot of times we hire low. We hire low and we expect them to go high. We gonna hire high. We gotta get some of us don't want to hire good people because we know we don't do what's right. Okay, guys, we love the conference. We invite you to join us in May. Those of you who decide to get the lifetime membership, you get a free ticket. Come join us in Houston. It's going to be so much fun. See you guys tomorrow night. I'm going to eat some spaghetti. I don't know about you, but tomorrow I'll be here to talk about money and profits in childcare. See you then.